So there is something that has been plaguing me just in the last 2 days, ever since I spoke to Donny. Don't want to do it again. I don't think he'll contact me again now that he knows that he's not the father, but we'll see. But yeah, he said about my religion when he finally got around to listening to it, that don't tell Big Brother that you think you're Christ, because you'll have no chance of getting on that show if you do say that to them. And I've got no real evidence that they know or they believe, or whoever it is. I know it's just a group of people, and it might be a very different group of people to who was doing it a few years ago. I don't really know. Um, I know that I've seen lots of evidence that is the show that I need to get on to promote my religion, and or to just test people to see what they believe. I know it's very important that when I get on, they're not seen as someone who 100% believes, but rather just someone who just a group of people that are just like, this is what this girl believes. What do you think? And it needs to be done like that, because my higher self wants to know who is capable of believing stuff and who isn't, and who's going to reject it, who's going to think that I'm mad, who's going to think that I'm telling the truth. My higher self wants to know this, and my higher self can time travel. Hence, my higher self can know people's reaction and know. She wants to know who's more switched on than others, and by them not supporting me, yes, I mean, as a person I need to feel supported. Otherwise I'm going to be very, very hesitant about saying everything. If I feel like they 100% don't believe, then I'm not going to be just trying to shoot my mouth off in hopes of getting people to hate me, because I understand that a lot of people will hate me. And talking to Donny about it, I don't think he's a nice person, but there's a lot of people like him, and I feel like he's the sort of person that would probably not like me or easily turn against me because of my beliefs. If I said that I'm Christ, and he was just like, yeah, no wonder the social workers don't like you, because your videos are all about you. It's a selfish world, and people only care about themselves, and you're just one of these people. That's kind of what he said. And yeah, there's a lot of people that are going to think that my religion is just about me. I mean, it's not just about me. The fact of the matter is, if I'm trying to get people to listen to me and get people to hear what I have to hear, and for me to destroy Christianity, I need to prove that I'm Christ, and making everything about me, as in like all the names in the Bible, and making the whole Bible point to me in different ways. This is the best way to prove that I'm Christ, not because I want, not because I want to big myself up, saying Hosanna, if you add a silent W, it says Hosanna, she who comes in the name of the Lord. Me saying this is not bigging myself up. This is just me using something that can prove that I'm Christ. And okay, it'll be debatable whether people believe or not, but there's a lot of people that are going to think that I'm only saying things like this because I'm bigging myself up. And it's just like, if you knew what being a Christ means, you would not want to be Christ. Hence, you promoting yourself as being Christ is not actually something you would want to be, because the truth about being Christ is that there's going to be a lot of people that don't believe. There's going to be a lot of people that hate me, that despise me, that think that I'm just bigging myself up. And this is the reason why I'm not telling anyone in my sort of daily personal life, because I know a lot of people will have this sort of mindless attitude. They'll go around saying that, I'm a very intelligent man and I know stuff, and you're not Christ. There'll be a lot of people that are 100% convinced that that is the truth. And that is how Donny speaks. But yes, it's made me, getting on that show is important, because that's how I believe I'm going to expose it. And so he's putting questions in my head about whether or not it's actually going to happen, or whether or not I'm just going to be made to seem like a fool. If October comes and nothing happens and I'm not on the show, I'm not happy that I've had to wait 10 years, and that for 5 years in a row that show was on, and for every single year I thought it was going to happen and it didn't. It makes me feel like a fool saying things. And then I'm looking at the Taylor Swift, look what you made me do song, and I kind of realize that this definitely is not all about me. Part of my evidence that I'm Christ does lie in the songs, not so much the singers in their personal lives, because I don't actually know the singers in their personal lives, but I know that the singers have been making songs that are being inspired by my higher self. Only my higher self is not getting any credit, because no one knows that, but that's how it needs to be. Why? Because as soon as people realize that my higher self, e.g. God, which is me but in a higher form, as soon as she starts um, as soon as people are aware that she has been putting messages inside these singers' songs, with the singers, they will age and die just like everyone else, but the songs will always remain, whether we're talking hundreds of years or thousands of years, however long Earth survives. All these videos are going to, still exist, and they're still going to represent the angels that they represent. So even though the artists themselves will age, die, in Britney Spears' case, seem to develop some sort of mental condition and change. Whatever happens to the personal lives of them, the songs will always exist. And these are my angels. The angels are not necessarily people, but rather something that lies inside the songs and the work of these people. And yeah, when I give this message, it's not just going to be my life that's kind of in danger. It's going to be all of them, because people aren't going to like if I say that the "Look What You Made Me Do" song is actually God saying I hate you, and all the lies that you're telling about how much I love you. Some people that survive because they believe that God loves them and God will do anything for them, and God likes them and is happy with them, and to if they were confronted with the truth that actually God doesn't. And this "Look What You Made Me Do" song is kind of an anger song, a revenge song. There's going to be a lot of people that don't just want me dead for saying that that's me, my higher self, God, and that's how she feels about some people. They're probably also going to want the singers dead and stuff. So I hate the fact that I've had to wait such a long time. I'm 36 now. I feel like I'm dead and that I've wasted my life. But I know the truth about this world is that it is really disgusting. And if I was massively famous 10 years ago, my life wouldn't be much better, because I would have to still probably be in hiding for such a long time because of all the people. Christianity is a big religion. I like to think that it's dying and it's dead. But yeah, when I saw this, this Passion of Christ play that I saw the other day, it was a reminder that there are still some young people that believe in this nonsense, that the nonsense that Jesus is Christ. And I've had a conversation with my friend as well yesterday, um, and he's a nice guy, and I see all his good qualities. He has some bad qualities, yes, but Christianity is his bad quality. I told him that I'm an antichrist and the social workers don't like me because of this. And his response was just like, well, if you think Christianity is evil, does that mean you think I'm evil? No, I'm not. I just think you don't know the truth. And then he's like, oh no, but you just haven't done the research into Jesus. And I was like, yeah. See, you assuming that because I think Jesus is the Antichrist, that I therefore haven't done any research into Christianity, or you assuming that I know nothing about Jesus, and that's why I think I'm the Antichrist. That's why I don't like you, because you jump to conclusions and would assume something without any evidence. You can't assume that because I see Jesus as the Antichrist that I therefore have no knowledge of Jesus or what he's about, because I do. I believe, I didn't say all of this, but I believe that I invented Christianity, or not invented it, but I inspired it, and got the books, worked with the writers of the books to come up with something that the world wanted. And this Jesus figure that we know nothing about, I wanted this to be formed to see who would believe in him. And, he has believed in him. He accepts Jesus. And I think it's more because he accepts that this is what the world believes and stuff. But yeah, to jump to conclusions and think, oh, this person thinks Jesus is the Antichrist. Oh, well, of course it's because she doesn't know anything about Jesus. I mean, that's the only excuse as to why someone would think Jesus is the Antichrist. It's like, no. And he's done that about a few other things. Like there's a Donnie character who I've talked about, he lies a lot, don't talk to him, have nothing more to do with him. And I was like, well, yeah, just because he lies a lot, though, doesn't mean he always lies. People have good and bad sides. He has ton of bad sides, but there's a couple of good sides, and I can talk to him, and I'm concerned about the child, and he is too. So he has a good side. He had a good side to him, even though he's full of lies and stuff. But yeah, you can't just not talk to someone because you know that they lie, because sometimes it's the truth. And likewise, there's this other one who works in music, the film industry, teaching martial arts, and yeah, he doesn't believe anything that this guy says. Oh no, he's full of crap. He's just lying to you. And what was his car like? I mean, it's obviously, yeah, it was a bit, yeah. He's probably not. He's probably got nothing to do with this, and he's just lying. again, you don't know him. You can't just jump to conclusions and assume you know something. And I feel like he's developed this attitude because of being Christian, because the whole of Christianity is about just Jesus is Christ, this is what happened, believe it, don't question it, don't get to know him, don't try and get to know him, just assume that this is what he thinks and this is what he's done and this is blah blah blah. And with the devil, he's the devil, Lucifer, whatever, he's bad. Don't come to any real conclusion as to who he actually is, but just believe whatever has been told. That is what I hate about Christians. And yeah, he is a Christian doesn't mean he's evil. I just think he's been taught to believe things without evidence or without actual looking into it, and jump to conclusions. And this is a downside of Christianity. But yeah, the downside is that it is very much alive today, and there are plenty of people that would just think she thinks she's Christ, she must be arrogant, up herself, blah, 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 blah. And they will jump to conclusions because according to the Bible, anyone who's against Jesus is therefore an antichrist. And well, if she thinks she's Christ, well, she's obviously a blasphemer and blah 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 blah. And it's just like, yeah, or it's true, and you're just not open to anything else. And yeah. So this is just what's on my mind. I need to get onto a show to test people, but yeah, what happens if nothing happens? What happens if I don't know if the social services know about me. I was kind of hoping that maybe some perhaps did believe, but I have no evidence of that. And yeah, I was kind of hoping that Ian would be more on my side, but yeah, after the conversation we had, I definitely don't think so. But I don't know if he's a Christian or not, but I've got a feeling that his mum is probably a Christian. I don't know about him. He's probably a relaxed whatever Christian maybe. But yeah, Donnie also, though, he told me that he's not a Christian, he doesn't believe in it, he's all these wars, blah blah blah. But it's like, you say you're not a Christian, but I know that's a lie, because you've also told me that you play the piano at churches often, so you obviously are a Christian. But yeah, he's full of lies. But yeah, there's a lot of people that might say that they're not Christian when really they are. Hence, Ian being angry over my religion. Maybe it's not something that he necessarily believes, but if you've got family members, if you've got a mum who's strongly Christian, and then you've got someone else who's saying that actually I'm the Christ, and anyone who's worshiping Jesus is worshiping the Antichrist, it could be an insult in his family. If my mum worships Jesus, what are you saying? She's worshiping the Antichrist. A lot of people are going to get defensive about this. A lot of people are going to think, what, you think you're God and you think you hate the world? You think God hates the world? God doesn't hate the world. And then they would actually get angry over the thought or the possibility that God hates people. I think if you look at the world, it would be, and you're smart and you're actually intelligent, you would understand why God would hate the world. And if you think about what my life has been like and what I've had to go through, having thousands of people will believe that they know about me and they're not talking to me, I think they're not talking to me because it's actually keeping me far safer. Because if I had people supporting me, I would be a lot scarier to the Christians who will be like, oh my God, this woman might actually destroy Christianity. I mean, if they think that I'm just delusional, that I have no chance of destroying Christianity, well, then I'm pretty safe. But if people start believing that I am actually their Antichrist, the Christian Antichrist, and that I am actually going to destroy this, religion, there's going to be a lot of people that will get a lot of emotions involved. And my life would be a danger, as well as all the other singers and celebrities who might not actually have known what they're doing, might still not know about me. It's still unknown, but my message is being sung through them, and I will be using all these characters to help my higher self, who is God, get through to the world about how much he hates this world. And a lot of people aren't going to want that to believe that message, and it's going to cause loads of problems. But at the end of the day, the only way to fix it is to get right with God. And to do that, you have to get right with me. And I don't even know if that's going to happen, because if I don't get onto Big Brother, then I'm probably going to accept that will never happen until after I die. And I think that should be a good thing. I'd love the world to know how much Christ and God actually hates them, and then for me to die and just be like, you know what, it's too late now. There's no going back. You're not going to be able to ever make this up to me, and then just let the world just continue living in shit. I mean, technically, if I'm not here, then do I care if the world lives in shit? That's a lot of people wouldn't want to face that reality that Christ thinks that way. But at the end of the day, why should I not think this way? You know, if you've had a shitty life and no one believes you and you can't get anyone to believe you, and then, but at the same time, you know you're right, but no one would accept it because they're too busy believing lies. And then you die not because you want to die, but just because that's happened and no one helped you during your life. And then the people that rejected you spend thousands of years hating me. Isn't that exactly what happened with Jesus? You know, he was supposed to have died 2,000 years ago, and okay, he's supposed to rise again and saved everyone, but at the end of the day, did he? You know, you have this memory of a Christ figure who's supposed to be God in human form or something like that, and God's son or whatever, and he's gone through all this persecution, and it's just made the world feel like shit because, oh my gosh, we've done this, we didn't help him, we shouldn't have let this happen, blah 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 blah. And then for 2,000 years, although people think it's a good thing what happened, it's like, no, if you see the truth, you'll see that it's not a good thing, and that he's actually, you know, it's making you feel guilty or bad for something that, okay, they didn't believe in reincarnation or anything, so they didn't think it was actually them, but it makes them feel bad about their ancestors and what their ancestors did. But yeah, if the same thing happens to me, should I care? No, I don't, and that's just the reality of. But I don't know. That's why it's important to get on the show, but it's also important if it doesn't happen, then I'm going to just be like, yeah, whatever. I don't care.